everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
You know, today we are going down a rabbit hole. I'm really excited about this one.
Yeah.
This is going to be interesting. So get ready. We're talking about frequencies, interdimensional travel, and even some encounters with beings from different star systems.
Buckle up, right? It's going to be a wild ride for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're really pushing the boundaries of what we think of as, normal reality.
Exactly. And the thing is, we're not just speculating here.
Yeah.
You've got a whole collection of personal accounts, dreams, visions, even like physical sensations that people have experienced that suggest there's something more going on than meets the eye.
Right. It's like people are tapping into something beyond the everyday, something bigger, and
It's exciting, right?
it is. It is.
So before we jump into all the, the really out there stories, let's maybe set the stage a bit. Can you give us like a quick rundown of the main concepts we're going to be looking at today?
Okay, sure. Well, a lot of what we're going to be talking about revolves around this idea of frequency.
Yep.
And it's not just like good vibes, it's being described as an actual measurable energy that affects both our physical and mental states.
Okay, so it's like a scale almost, right?
Yes.
Like higher frequency equals more consciousness, more creativity, maybe even like the ability to manifest things.
That's the general idea. And the thing is, they're not just talking about frequency in a vague sense. They're actually using numbers like thousands of cycles per second.
Really, thousands.
Yeah, like way beyond anything we can measure with our normal scientific instruments.
Wow. Okay. So that's where it starts to get a little fuzzy for me, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, scientifically speaking, we can't really verify these specific numbers, but the idea that energy vibrations play a role in shaping reality, that's a concept you find in a lot of different spiritual and metaphysical traditions.
I see. So like, even if the exact numbers are debatable, the underlying concept of energy and vibration, like that's something that resonates with a lot of people.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so let's say I'm feeling super creative and inspired. Does that mean like my frequency is high at that moment?
It could very well. When we're doing things we love, when we're in that flow state, when we're experiencing joy, that's when our energy is thought to vibrate at a higher level. That higher frequency is what supposedly opens us up to new possibilities, insights, even connections with other realms.
So it's almost like a recipe for a more fulfilling life, right? Like if you raise your frequency, you're going to experience more joy, more creativity.
And potentially even connect with something beyond our everyday reality.
Okay, now that's where I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
So how high can these frequencies go?
Yeah.
And what happens at like the top end of the spectrum?
Right. Well, this is where things get really interesting. It's suggested that once you get above a certain threshold, like say 333,000 cycles per second, that's when you start to transition from our physical reality into something else entirely, like a non-physical realm or even other dimensions.
Whoa, other dimensions. Like, are we talking parallel universes here?
Sure. That's a big question, right? I mean, parallel universes are usually the stuff of science fiction, but the idea of multiple dimensions existing alongside our own, that's something physicists and philosophers have been exploring for a long time.
I mean, it's a mind-blowing concept, right? To think that there could be these other realities existing right alongside our own.
Absolutely. And some people believe that these personal accounts, these experiences people are having, they might be glimpses into these other dimensions.
Okay, so how do these personal accounts, these experiences, how do they connect to the idea of higher frequencies and other dimensions?
Well, a lot of them describe things that just don't fit into our normal understanding of reality, like dreams and visions and physical sensations that are so unusual they can't be explained away easily.
Can you give us an example?
Sure. One person describes having these recurring dreams about giant white whales, and they feel their own body like shifting and changing shape in these dreams. And they interpret this as a connection to a specific star system that's known for its advanced civilizations and its spiritual wisdom.
So these aren't just random dreams. They could be glimpses into other worlds or even communications with beings from those worlds.
That's one way to look at it. And it ties into this whole idea of starseed origins, the idea that some people on Earth might actually have souls that originated in other star systems.
Whoa, okay, hold on. We're going full cosmic here. We've got frequencies and other dimensions, and now starseeds. My head is spinning.
It's a lot to take in, right?
It is. So where do we even begin to unravel all of this?
Well, I think the best place to start is with the experiences themselves. Let's dive into some of these personal accounts, see what people are saying, how they're interpreting these experiences, and just see what resonates with you. And remember, you don't have to believe everything you hear, but the idea is to engage with these ideas, ask questions, and maybe even challenge your own assumptions about what's possible.
I'm game. Let's do it. So let's start with this connection to the star system. You mentioned the one with the giant white whales and the shape-shifting.
Yeah.
What's so special about this particular star system? Why would someone feel drawn to it?
Well, it's often associated with advanced civilizations, spiritual wisdom, even a guiding force in human evolution,
Oh, wow.
like a source of knowledge and inspiration for humanity.
Like a cosmic mentor almost.
Yeah, exactly. Guiding us towards a higher level of consciousness.
Wow. So how does this person's experience, the dreams and the shape-shifting, how does that connect to this bigger picture?
So their interpretation is that these dreams are a form of communication with an oversoul that's connected to that star system.
An oversoul, what's that?
It's a complex concept, but think of it like a vast network of consciousness that connects all beings from a particular origin.
Okay, so like a giant web, and each individual soul is like a node on that web, sharing information and experiences with the collective.
Exactly. And through experiences like this dream, it's believed that people can tap into that collective consciousness and gain access to wisdom and insights that are beyond their individual understanding.
Wow, okay, that's a mind-blowing concept. So we're all potentially connected to this cosmic network, sharing experiences and knowledge across time and space. And by tapping into it, we can access this incredible wealth of wisdom and guidance.
That's the idea. And it suggests that we're not just isolated individuals, but part of something much bigger and more interconnected.
This is making me rethink my whole understanding of reality. But before we get too lost in the cosmic web, let's explore another account. What about this person who heard chanting in an unknown language during meditation? How does that fit into all of this?
Okay, so that's where the idea of portals or gateways between dimensions comes in.
Portals, okay.
Yeah, and the thought is that through practices like meditation, we can actually shift our frequency enough to access these portals and connect with other realities or beings.
So instead of physically traveling to another dimension, it's more about shifting your consciousness to perceive and interact with those realms.
Precisely. Like tuning into a different radio frequency. You're not physically moving, but you're accessing a different signal, a different reality.
Okay, now that's fascinating. So we've got frequencies and star seeds and portals to other dimensions. I can't wait to dive deeper into these concepts and explore some more of these personal accounts.
Me too. Let's see what other mind-blowing revelations await us on this journey into the unknown. You know, when we talk about these portals, I think one place that always captures people's imagination is the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The Bermuda Triangle, it's like a classic mystery, right?
Totally. And some people believe it's not just a mystery, it's actually a naturally occurring portal, a place where the fabric of reality is kind of thinner, you know?
Thinner.
Yeah, like the barriers between dimensions are weaker there.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, it's thought that maybe that's why some people or even objects vanish without a trace in that area. They might be slipping through these dimensional cracks.
So it's like a cosmic game of roulette. You're sailing along and suddenly you're in another dimension.
Something like that. It's a pretty wild idea, right?
It is. And it makes you wonder about all those stories of ships and planes disappearing. What if they really did just slip into another reality?
And here's another thought. What if these portals aren't limited to the Bermuda Triangle? What if they exist all over the planet just waiting to be discovered or activated?
Okay, now that's a really cool idea,
Yeah,
but also a little scary. I mean, who knows what's on the other side of those portals, right?
exactly. It's the ultimate unknown.
Speaking of the unknown, one of the accounts we're looking at talks about hybrid children. And there's some pretty intense reactions to these beings. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, this is where things get really interesting and maybe a little harder to grasp. So in this account, the person describes a dream of caring for these hybrid children, but then they experience this really unsettling physical reaction. They start vomiting.
Vomiting in the dream.
Yeah, it's a strong reaction, right? And the interpretation here isn't about like literal hybrid children. It's more about the energetic and symbolic aspects of the experience.
So what does the vomiting represent?
It's seen as a kind of purging or release of energies that are incompatible between the dreamer and these hybrid beings, like a way of clearing out old patterns or beliefs that no longer serve them.
So it's not about biological differences. It's more about differences in frequency or vibration like we were talking about earlier.
Exactly. It's like trying to mix oil and water. They just don't blend naturally.
I see. So the vomiting is kind of a way to bridge that vibrational gap.
You could say that. It's about creating space for something new, a new way of being.
So in a way, it's like a cosmic detox. You have to let go of what's holding you back to connect with these higher frequencies and maybe even interact with beings from other realms.
That's an interesting way to put it, and it speaks to the idea that growth and expansion often involve challenges and even some discomfort. You have to be willing to let go of the familiar to embrace the unknown.
That makes sense.
Cool.
And it ties back to the idea of raising our frequency, evolving our consciousness to a point where we can connect with these other realms and beings without having such a dramatic reaction.
Precisely, expanding our capacity to experience the universe in all its diversity, even the aspects that might initially seem strange or unsettling.
This is blowing my mind. So we've got portals, hybrid children, and the importance of raising our frequencies. What else do these accounts have in store for us?
Well, there's one more I think you'll find particularly intriguing. It involves someone feeling their body disappear while eating avocado toast.
Wait, what? Avocado toast.
Seriously. Yep, avocado toast.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the toast itself, it's about what it represents in terms of transcending our physical reality and experiencing the world on a purely energetic level.
Okay, now I'm really curious. Let's dig into this toast-tastic tale and see what insights we can find, because who wouldn't want a little enlightenment with their breakfast, right? Okay, so this avocado toast experience, I'm dying to hear more about this.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the more unusual ones. So basically, the person describes feeling like their body just vanished while they were eating this avocado toast.
Oh, like they completely disappeared.
It's not about physically disappearing. It's more about a shift in their perception. Like they were suddenly aware of the energy of the food instead of just its physical form.
So they were like bypassing their taste buds and going straight to the energetic source of the avocado.
Exactly. And it raises some interesting questions about how we perceive reality. What if our five senses are just one way of experiencing the world? What if there are other more subtle ways of picking up on energy and information?
Like we're only seeing a tiny sliver of what's really out
Yeah,
there.
yeah. It's like those animals that can see ultraviolet light. You know, we can't see it, but it's still there. It's just beyond our range of perception.
I see. So maybe there are all these other layers of reality that we're just not tuned into.
That's the idea. It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
It is. But going back to the avocado toast, what was it about the avocado toast specifically? Why not a bowl of cereal or a slice of pizza?
That's a good question. It could be that avocados have certain vibrational qualities that make them more conducive to these kinds of experiences. Or maybe it was just a random catalyst for this person's shift in awareness. The important thing is that it shows us that it's possible to experience reality beyond our physical senses. And these experiences can happen in the most ordinary moments.
So it's more about being open to those subtle shifts in perception than about the food itself. Like we've all had those moments where we feel a sudden connection to nature, or we get lost in a piece of music and it's like reality expands for a moment.
Exactly. And maybe these accounts of these unusual experiences are encouraging us to pay more attention to those moments, to really explore what they might be telling us about consciousness and the nature of the universe.
It's like a reminder to stay curious, to not dismiss things just because they sound strange or unconventional.
Exactly. Because what seems impossible today might be common knowledge tomorrow.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into frequencies, portals, and avocado-induced enlightenment, what are some key takeaways for our listeners?
Well, I think the biggest one is to question our assumptions about reality. These accounts, as wild as they might sound, they challenge us to consider the possibility of a much vaster and more interconnected universe than we typically imagine.
And to remember that we might have more potential to experience this expanded reality than we realize.
Exactly. Whether it's through meditation or exploring our passions or simply paying attention to those subtle shifts in awareness, we might discover that the boundaries of reality are much more fluid and permeable than we ever thought possible.
And who knows, maybe that next bite of avocado toast will be the one that unlocks a whole new dimension of experience.
The universe is full of surprises. Keep an open mind, stay curious, and don't be afraid to explore the mysteries that surround us.
Well said. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep exploring the infinite possibilities of the universe.